The Mount Farm World Tour returns once again and we'll be continuing where we left off with the next place, which is Nazjatar. Now if you're new to this series, we go through continent to continent, going through all the various mounts you can collect, and if you have missed previous episodes, there will be a playlist down in the description below. We will start out by talking about how to get to Nazjatar. If you've already unlocked it, you might want to skip to the next chapter ahead, but for those that have never been to Nazjatar before or even been to Battle for Azeroth content before, then this part should be useful for you. So to get to Battle for Azeroth, you will need to head to your main city, in Stormwind or Orgrimmar. There'll be the call to action board, and next to the board should be an NPC. If you speak to this NPC, it should have a quest for you, and this quest line should be the one that sends you to Battle for Azeroth. So go through that. Have some tasks to do. You might have a scenario if you've never done any of this content before. Once that is done, you should now find yourself in your main faction city for Battle for Azeroth. So for Horde, that would be Dazar'alor, and for Alliance, that would be Borealis. Once you're there, continue the main campaign quest line that you've been given, and at some point you'll have a quest where you'll have to pick a zone that you want to start kind of questing in. You'll have a board, there'll be 3 zones for you to pick from. Once you're at this point, now we're kind of good to go, so just keep going through the main campaign until you get to this point. The next step will be to get a quest called Send the Fleet. For Alliance, you'll get this from Gen, and for a Horde, you'll get this from Nethanos, and it'll be from the boat within your kind of main faction hub's dock. So Borealis is just right outside the door where you were basically questing. You'll find your Alliance boat, and he should be on there. And for Horde, you'll have to head down to the port of Zandalar, which is south of the main hub. And down there should be the Horde boat, which should have Nethanos on it. Now, if these NPCs aren't given the quest Send the Fleet, you may have a couple of problems going on. First of all, do make sure you progress the main campaign far enough. If that's not the problem and you're new to this content completely, it may be that you need to go and get your Heart of Azeroth, which was kind of like a key item within the expansion. To do that, there will be a stone dwarf nearby. For Alliance, he's in Borealis, and for Horde, he's in the port of Zandalar. This will give you a quest called the Heart of Azeroth. You'll head to Silverfish, you'll do some quests with Magna, you will get your heart, and now you'll be able to head back to your boat and see if the quest is available. Here it should be available. You'll pick up Send the Fleet, you'll be sent to Nazjatar, and you'll basically just continue with the main story campaign from here. You'll end up in your main hub for Nazjatar. You'll have some more quests to do, and then you'll be sent to go and help Magni again. Don't worry, this is normal, and it is something you're going to have to do. So you'll head to Magna, you'll do the quests in High Mountain, you'll get your essence, you'll socket your essence into your Heart of Azeroth, and you'll be sent back to Nazjatar. From here, you'll have a couple more story quests to do. Once those are done, you should have now unlocked world quests, and we're pretty much good to go with the rest of the content in this video. The first mount we're going to talk about will be the Ankoan Waveray for Alliance and the Unshackled Waveray for Horde. And these require you to get exalted with your faction within Nazjatar. Once you are exalted, you're able to purchase this for 250 mana pearls. I won't really go into how to get mana pearls because you're just going to be getting them from doing the content to get to exalted anyway, so they'll just come naturally. Now, one interesting thing about these mounts as well is they're 2 separate mounts. So if you're an Alliance player and you've got the Ankoan Waveray, you can actually get another mount for your collection by getting a Horde character, getting it to max, getting the Reptor exalted, and purchasing the Unshackled Waveray on that character. That'll be 2 unique mounts for your collection. There is a way of doing this as well that makes it a little bit easier, is any spare mana pearls you have, you'll be able to purchase a conch for, I think it's 20 mana pearls, and that will give you a little bit of rep, so you can kind of buy those, send them to your alternate character, and get your rep up a little bit easier that way. So let's talk about how to get exalted with these factions. The first method is going to be killing rare spawns. There's going to be a ton of rare spawns all around Nazjatar, and these will give 50 reputation per kill. Unfortunately though, this is a one-time thing, it doesn't reset daily, so you will get your 50 rep and then that'll be it. The next method is going to be leveling up your follower. You'll kind of get like an ally that will help you within combat and will give you some quests to do as well each day. And this guy, once he's leveled up, there'll be 3 different followers you can choose from, and when these level up, you'll get 250 reputation. So you want to be doing those. These will be useful for other stuff as well, and we'll talk more in detail about how to level them up efficiently later in the video. The next method is just going to be the general daily quests that you'll get in your hub within Nazjatar. These will be like bounties to go and kill a specific type of mob or go collect items, and these will give you a little bit of rep for doing those. Next up will be completing world quests, and there's going to be a bunch of world quests throughout the zone that will reset throughout the day. So be trying to do as many of these a day as you can. These will give a nice chunk of reputation. Also, if there is an embassy available for your faction in Nazjatar, definitely want to get your 4 world quests done and hand that in, because that is going to give you 1,500 rep, which is a pretty big chunk. Another method will be the Summons from the Depths event that happens about every 3 hours. You will get an alert on the kind of screen, and you will also see the icon on your map when it is available. You'll head over there, you'll just kill some mobs and kill a boss, and from this you'll have a chance of getting 150 reputation. You will also need to do this multiple times for another mount as well, so it is definitely worth being aware of this. If you've rescued the Murloc Merle while you've been in Nazjatar, or don't worry if you've not because we'll talk about this later in the video anyway, but once he's in your base you will be able to speak to him, and every day he'll sell 2 different items. Now if you're only seeing 1 item, that's because we need to get our hands on a benthic cloak that has the affix of being able to see additional items. To do this, what I would recommend doing is just speaking to your NPC vendor within your hub, and they will sell you cloaks for 5 mana pearls, so you can just keep buying cloaks, open them, and then keep doing that until you get the one that you need. Once you've got that cloak, obviously don't sell it, and you need to equip it. Now speak to Merle again, and he will now have 2 items for you to purchase every day. And one of those items can be the Shadow Cloaked Shell, which once opened will give you a conch that you can use for 150 reputation. The next method is one of the better ones, and that is Mardiva's Laboratory. To unlock this, you will need to get your hands on a lesser benthic Arcano Crystal, which you should get pretty early on anyway. Opening treasures and killing rares has a chance of dropping this. Once you get it, complete the quest, and you will now unlock the Laboratory. It'll be a place kind of northish of the zone. You'll head inside the cave, and there'll be kind of a book that you can pick up a quest from, and then you'll have some kind of like crystal things. Now what these crystals do is you can infuse them with items, and it'll change the mob that spawns. For the reputation, this doesn't really mean much, but for one of the achievements we need for another mount, this is more important, and we'll talk about that later. But in terms of just pure reputation, you'll head inside the cave, you'll summon a special rare if you want to, or you can just use the default one by not using any crystals. You'll summon a rare, you'll kill the rare, you'll hand in the quest, and this will give you 500 reputation per week. So definitely worth making sure you're doing this weekly. The final main method of gaining reputation will be from the pet battles. There will be one-time pet battles across the zone, and doing each of these the one time will give you 250 reputation. I think there's about 12 of them, so you will get a big chunk of reputation from doing this. They are quite difficult though. These are going to be, I think, legendary based pets. So you will need 3 good, level 25 pets that kind of match what you're fighting and can handle it well. What I'd recommend doing is just looking up on Wowhead for the specific name of the pet you're about to fight, and people have listed their different strategies for making these a breeze, and it's going to make it a ton easier for you to do that too. The next mount to talk about will be the Royal Snapdragon, and this is relatively simple. It's basically what we've just been doing, gaining reputation, except you will need to be exalted, because this is going to come from the Paragon box once you're exalted with your faction in Nazjatar. Once you hit exalted, continue gaining rep. Every chunk of rep you get will go towards the Paragon box. Get your Paragon box, open it, and you'll have a chance for the Royal Snapdragon. If you don't get it this week, then continue gaining rep until you do eventually get it. Next up will be the Silent Glider, and this is going to drop from a rare spawn called Soundless. So this is a rare that spawns in the Coral Forest, and it's on about a 2 to 8 hour respawn timer, so pretty damn long, and it's going to be on about a 1% drop chance. So you can see why this is a bit of a pain, because trying to get a kill every day is not going to be easy. What I would definitely recommend doing is checking out for groups that get posted. Those are going to be quite rare though, but if you head over to the Secret Finding Discord, which I'll post a link for in the description down below, join that server and you will be able to flag yourself as like an EU player that's looking for Soundless kills, and what people do is they'll list groups and you'll get alerted, you'll be able to join the group, they'll wait for other people, and then you'll be able to get a kill a little bit easier. And it does spawn in multiple areas of the coral reef or the coral forest, so you can't just kind of sit in one place. You are going to have to move around a little bit and check various locations. The Inkscale Deepseeker is going to be the next mount for us to talk about, and this is a little bit of a pain, but luckily they added a fix that made it a little bit easier at least. So the way this mount works is you need to get your hands on 150 Nazjatar Battle commendations. Now these were awarded for doing PvP related tasks within Nazjatar, mainly taking part in the PvP event that took place when there was enough players in the zone. But now that no one goes in there anymore, you can't kill players, you can't take part in the PvP event, so it becomes pretty difficult. But what they've done is made it so as long as you're on war mode, so if you're not on war mode, obviously head to your faction city, turn on war mode, head back to Nazjatar, and while you're on war mode, any rares that you kill will give you 1 commendation. And these aren't loot locked either, so once that rare respawns for that day, even if it's the same day, you can kill it again and get another Nazjatar Battle commendation as long as you have war mode on. So you will need to kill 150 rares within Nazjatar essentially to get your hands on the 150 commendations. Now also the war supply chest that will drop while you're in war mode will give some commendations too. Once you have 150, head to your base in Nazjatar and there will be an NPC there that will sell you the mount for 150. The next mount up is a little bit of a pain, and that is the Crimson Tidestallion. The way this is going to work is that vendor we were talking about earlier, Merle, that sells you 2 items if you have the cloak on. One of those, the hidden item, can be the mount, the Crimson Tidestallion. Now when that item is available, because it's not available every day, it's going to be available very rarely. When it is available, you will need to do a little bit of kind of shuffling around and buying items from all of the Murlocs that are now in your base, and swapping them around, selling one item to one person, buying one from another, and keep doing that until you have everything you need to be able to purchase the Crimson Tidestallion. But we'll get to that in a moment. So before then, you do need to unlock Merle and get him into your base, and you'll find Merle kind of a little bit north of your base. It'll be where I'm showing you now. There'll be a little quest for you to pick up. You'll take Merle back to your base, and now he'll be in the base. If he doesn't immediately pop up and you can't hand in the quest, either log out, log in, or take the portal, take it back, and now he should be in the place and you can pick up the quest and hand it in. Once Merle is now in your base, once again you will have to get your hands on that cloak that allows you to see the secret items. Once we have those 2 things, now we can begin checking Merle every day for the Crimson Tidestallion. Now there's one other thing you should make sure you have as well, and that is going to be the taco from the Murloco vendor. This guy is going to be quite north of the base. He'll be in a little cave, and when he's up, he's not always up, he's kind of like a mini little rare event. When he is up though, there'll be some Naga in front of a cage. He'll be in the cage, you'll kill the waves of Naga, he'll be free, and now with the cloak on, you'll be able to see the taco item. You can only have one of these in your bag at a time, so purchase one and make sure you've kind of always got one hander, because that will definitely save you a ton of time when the mount is there, because you do need one of these tacos too. So you've got your taco, you've got your cloak on, now what do you do? Well, you want to head to your main faction base in Nazjatar. You'll see various Murlocs kind of running around, and now we have to buy the various items from them. Do make sure you've got your cloak equipped as well, because you will need this. And it's going to be a lot of running back and forth between all the various vendors, buying one item from one, selling one to another. There used to be a weak aura that worked for this that made life a lot easier, but apparently that does not work anymore, so we're going to have to do it the hard way. So let's talk about the white items you'll need first of all. You'll need 714 slimy Naga eyeballs, you'll need 128 sweet sea vegetables, and you'll need 288 unidentified mass. Once you've got those, now you can start buying the green items. You'll need 32 just regular butter, you'll need 248 curious Murloc horns, and you'll need 48 dirty socks. You'll also need to clean those socks, so once you've bought them all, go into a little pool of water and start clicking them, and those will now become clean socks. Now let's move on to the blue items. You'll need 16 smelly piles of goop, 28 ghost food, 16 sea giant foot dust, 14 healthy Murloc lunch. Now we can move finally onto the purple items, and that'll be 4 cultist pinky fingers, 2 pulsating bloodstones. And now we've got everything we need. We can head to Merle, and he'll sell you the mount for 4 cultist pinky fingers, 2 pulsating bloodstones, and 1 taco. Once you've handed in all that, you've got your mount, you can learn it, and now that is finally over. If you're doing other stuff within Nazjatar and working on other mounts, then this mount should come pretty easily while you're working on other things anyway, and that will be the Deepcoral Snapdragon for Alliance, or the Snapdragon Kelpstalker for Horde. To get this mount, you will need to get a specific follower to level 20, although as I said, while you're doing other stuff in Nazjatar, as long as you're working on your followers as well, you should get this naturally while you're working towards the other mounts and things within the zone. So for Alliance, you will need to get Hunter Akana to level 20, and for Horde, you will need to get Neri to level 20. Once they hit level 20, you'll get a quest from them, you'll go loot a box, and from that box, you will get yourself the mount. Now let's talk a little bit about how you actually level up these followers. The first main method is going to be to pick a follower for the day, and once you pick them up, you will have some new daily quests that appear on the map. Go and collect all of those, hand them in, finish them, whatever, and you will get some reputation with your follower for doing those. The next method will be from Merle, the vendor we've talked about multiple times. He will have an item called the Naga Deployment Orders, which will give some rep to your followers, and also the Unusually Wise Hermit Crab. So if you see those and you want to level up your followers a little bit quicker, then definitely grab those items when they're available. The next method will be an item called the Ancient Reefwalker Bark. When handed in, will give you 100 rep with all of your followers, so it's quite nice. You can only get one of these per week to hand in, and it will drop from one of 4 kind of hidden rares within the zone. So the first hidden rare is going to be Urdu, which we'll find on the left side of the zone, and what we need to do to make this activate is grab one of his kind of younger brothers that's off to the side. You want to aggro this and you want to kite it all the way to him, but take it very slowly, because if you move too far away, it's going to reset and you're going to have to do this again. Once you do successfully kite it all the way to Urdu, you'll kill it on top of him, he'll get mad, and then you'll be able to kill him for the chance of the bark. The next one is going to be Ankoan, and I would not recommend killing this honestly, but if you really want to give it a go, you have to aggro one of these colossal sky rays that's in the sky. There's only one of them, it's flying around. You'll have to get it at the right time, you have to pull it down without dying, and then you have to get it kind of all the way over to the coral forest where Ankoan is. You'll kill it on top of him, and then he'll aggro and you'll be able to kill him. Now this sky rail will just consistently reset though, it's really not worth the hassle, but you know how to do it at least if you do want to give it a go. Next is Kelpstalker, and he's going to be kind of selfish of the zone. To get him to aggro, what we'll need to do is grab our prismatic crystal. You'll find these all across Nazjatar, they're mainly above waterfalls. It'll be a kind of sparkling crystal, and you'll pick that up, and what we need to do is use it on a muck slug. Now I'd recommend doing /target muck slug, flying around until you do find one. You can't use this on the pet battle muck slugs, only the kind of just random critter ones. So look for a muck slug, use the item on him. Do not get on a flying mount, you must be on a ground mount because if you fly it will despawn. Run all the way over to where Kelpstalker is, and now the muck slug will aggro Kelpstalker and you'll be able to kill him for the chance of the bark. The final one of these rares we'll find all the way off in the kind of north corner, and this will be Oranu. And to activate this rare, you will need a battle pet called the Drowned Hatchling, which we can purchase within Nazjatar from Faylana the Handler, and that will cost 40 prismatic mana pills. So once you purchase that pet, you'll summon it, you'll head over to Oranu, and that will aggro him, you'll be able to kill him, and that will be your final shot at getting the bark. The final method will be green items that aren't one time, you can hand them in multiple times. They are going to be quite rare though, and they will have a bit of a better chance from mobs that are associated with them. So for example, a giant crab leg, it's going to have a bit of a better chance of dropping from crab rares. So those items are the giant crab leg, an eel fillet, a fathom ray wing, and the reef walker bark. So get those, hand them in, and you will get a little bit of XP with your followers. From there, it's just a case of repeating these methods week in, week out until you do get your followers to max. Now what I would recommend doing though, is leveling them staggered. So once you get one to like 20s, I would switch to another one, because you're going to be getting like cleave experience when you hand in these items. So you don't want to push one all the way to 30 because you're just going to be wasting that cleave XP. So instead get one fairly high and then start working on another one, and then get that one fairly high and then start working on the third one. And that way you're kind of sharing out and maximizing your XP. The next mount on our list is going to be Fabious, and this is going to be a bit of a pain to get. It used to be way easier when you had more people trying to get this, but doing this alone, it's going to be torture. So what you'll want to do is pick one of his spawn locations. He has 4 across Nazjatar, and he spawns behind the kind of water wall that is stopping you from leaving the zone basically. And you'll want to sit there, you want to have a macro that's like target Fabious, put that on your bars and just spam it until you finally get a target on him. Once he's there, what you'll want to do is use the selfie cam toy, and you'll get that from Stormwind or Orgrimmar. There'll be a little quest you can do, get your hands on the toy. And once you have the toy, you can take a picture of him. You want to make sure he's in the shot though, so you have your characters back towards him. Use the toy, you'll bring up the camera in front of you, and you'll have your face plus Fabious in the background. Take the picture and he will come over and you will get the mount. Now here's where things get a little bit painful, is he's only around for about 2 to 3 minutes. So you will need to be aware, and that prevents you from flying around to the different spawn locations, because if he spawns in one, you fly across the entire zone, he's probably going to be gone by the time you get there. And to make things worse, he is on about a 2 to 12 hour respawn timer. So doing this solo is going to be quite painful. I definitely would recommend trying to make some kind of camp group for this, so then you can have one person in each of the spots. And even though it will be kind of rough to get from one side to the other, at least it gives you a bit of an idea of, well, I missed it, at least I know he spawned, or maybe I can get there in time. You know, you've got more of a chance. While if you're on your own, you can only pick one of the spots, and he might spawn in the other spots, and you just miss him completely. So do that, take a picture of Fabious, and you will get yourself that mount. The next mount is one of my favorites, even though I haven't actually got around to getting this yet, but this is the Undersea Usurper. And to get this, you will need to do a bunch of achievements within Nazjatar. This is going to take quite a lot of time. This is going to take months to get your hands on this mount, so do keep that in mind when you do start this grind for the mount. So let's go through all the achievements and what you'll need to do for them. First of all, Tour of the Depths. This one's pretty straightforward. You'll just have stuff that you have to do, like kill a world boss and level up your followers and use a scrying stone. You'll get most of this done while you're just doing the other stuff, so don't worry about this one too much. The next required achievement is I Thought You Said They'd Be Rare, and this is to kill every single rare within the zone. So you're going to have to go around, you're going to have to get the items to summon specific rares, you're going to have to wait for certain ones to spawn like Soundless, and you're going to have to get a kill on every single one. So this kind of thing I would definitely recommend looking on Wowhead, getting the full map of where they're all located and how to summon them, because some of them do have specific requirements to get them to spawn, so keep that in mind. The next one up is Trove Tracker, and this is to loot the various chests hidden within Nazjatar, the arcane chests and the glowing arcane trunks. And there'll be, I think there's about 16 of these total, so you will have to go find them all. Once again, there'll be a link in the description down below for a comment that gives you all the coordinates for all the various chests, just to make life a little bit easier. The next achievement up is Terror of the Tadpoles, and this one's a little bit time consuming, but it's not too bad compared to the rest on the list. On the left side of the zone, you'll find a little Murloc village. Within the Murloc village, will be little tadpoles that you can click on, and clicking on one will make it run away. Now, when you do click on them though, it will spawn a mob that will instantly aggro onto you, making it a little bit annoying for mounting up and getting to the next one. So to make life a little bit easier, what I would recommend is getting your hands on the Monol Hardened Stirrups. This is an item that allows you to interact with things while mounted in BFA. So get your hands on some of these, and this will allow you to just basically fly, land, click on one, fly to the next, click it, and just repeat that process until you do get your 100 done. Next up is Nothing to Scry About, and this is to find 100 treasures using the scrying stones. You'll get scrying stones from like killing rares, looting treasures. You'll use one and there'll be hidden chests without the zone. And to find the chest, you basically have to walk up to where it should be. You'll find an icon on your screen, you'll click that, and then the chest should appear and you can loot it. And you have to do that 100 times. So it's going to be kind of time consuming, but there's some other goodies like rep tokens and stuff you can get from doing that anyway. So it isn't the worst thing to be doing a little bit of that when you do find them. Next up is Back to the Depths, and that is to complete the summons from the depths scenario that we talked about earlier 10 times. So you will have to do this event 10 times, which is a minimum of 30 hours because each event takes about 3 hours for the next one to appear. Next up is Explore Nazjatar. Quite simple one, just fly around the zone and find all the exploration points, and you will get your hands on that achievement. Next up is Subaquatic Support. This is to complete 30 of the daily quests, so just keep completing daily quests until you've done 30 of them. This is going to take quite a bit of time though, of course. Next up is Feline Figurines. This is going to be one of the easy ones. Basically, there'll be figurines hidden across Nazjatar. Once again, link in the description below for some comments that will help you find these. But you'll fly around, you'll find the figurines, you'll click on them, and once you've found all of them, that achievement is done. Next up is Nazjatar Eliminated, and this is one that's going to be quite time consuming because to get this done you have to kill like a special elite mob, and these are tied to the world quest that's available at the time. So I think there's only one of these available each week or every few days, so you have to wait for that specific one to be there, you have to go kill it, and then once you've killed it, that's one done, but you have to keep waiting until you've found all the different various types, and that's going to take some time. Next up is Aqua Team Murder Force, and this is to get all of your followers to level 30. This is another one that's going to take quite some time because it's a case of coming back every day, every week, doing the dailies with your followers, getting them the rep items, leveling them up. 30 does take quite a bit of time, so this is going to take you months as well. Next up is A Fistful of Mana Pearls, and that is just to collect 1,000 Mana Pearls. You'll do this naturally while you're doing the other stuff in the zone, so that's not a problem. The next one up is Periodic Destruction, and while we're doing our Mardiva's Laboratory weekly, you'll have the option of kind of adding these items to the concoction, and depending on which ones you use will depend on what mob you're fighting. And basically what you have to do is add all the different various types of combinations, and each time you do that you'll get a new mob, and you have to kill all those different types. So if you're not sure which one you're missing, once again check comments, people have a list of all the different combinations that you need to do, and I definitely recommend following those to find the ones that you don't. But in the beginning you can just throw any old stuff in and you will end up with a mob that you've never killed before, obviously. Next is Merle's Secret Stash, and this is to obtain the Crimson Tidestallion, so the mount that we got earlier, that's what you need to do for that achievement, so that one's quite straightforward. Next up is Puzzle Performer. So what you'll need to do for this is loot the scrying chests until you get a quest item. That quest item will lead you onto a chain where you'll unlock new world quests that will unlock these puzzle chests. And what you need to do is basically do every single type of puzzle chest available. There's going to be a ton of them though. There's going to be like a green easy chest, an orange medium chest, an orange hard chest. You have to go through them all, and these are tied to world quests, so you're just going to be time gated by which world quest is available at that time. So just keep heading to Nazjatar, see which ones are available, and keep doing them until you do have them all completed. Next up is getting exalted with the Ankoan or Unshackled. It's simple, you know, you're going to be doing that while you're doing other stuff in the zone anyway. And then the final one is to complete the Nazjatar story quest line. So just go through the main story quest line in the zone, complete that all the way up until I think the point where you're meant to go into the Eternal Palace, the raid, and then you'll be done with that. And that is everything you need for this achievement. As I said, this is going to be pretty damn time consuming, though it isn't really difficult, but it is going to take quite a lot of commitment of coming back and doing these dailies and weeklies and rares and stuff every single day. So the final mount for us to touch on will be the Azshari Bloatray, and I'm not going to go into depth on how to do the achievements for this because it's not something you're going to be able to do alone anyway. But for this, you'll head into the Nazjatar raid, you'll do the meta achievement for the raid, and you will get yourself the Azshari Bloatray if you do that. So that does bring us to the end of the Nazjatar World Tour, and this was a pretty long one, honestly. There's quite a lot of depth within Nazjatar, a lot of confusing stuff, so I did have to take that extra second to kind of explain these things for people that have never done this content before. But if you did enjoy the video, look out for more World Tour stuff coming soon. Also, we are making a push for 100k subscribers, so if you made it this far into the video, definitely would appreciate a sub, and I am working on a special 400 mount guide spreadsheet for when we do hit 100k subscribers, so if you want to see that faster, then do make sure you subscribe. Outside of that, look out for more videos coming soon. Thanks for watching, guys. See ya.